So you're tired of working bedside nursing and you want to quit your job. Today we're going to talk about the steps that you need to take to go from working a stressful bedside nursing role to a flexible work from home role. If you've never been to my channel before, it's your girl Steph J, and I believe in the soft nursing life. While I love taking care of people, I will not let it go as far as to affect my mental health or my body again. Today, we're gonna get into how to identify and find your perfect soft life nursing or remote nursing role, because you deserve the best of both worlds too. First things first, why do you even wanna quit your nursing job? Just because something is remote doesn't mean it's gonna be a good fit for you. So is it the hours? Is it the people that you work with? Is it the patient population? What about that job don't you like? Every remote role is extensively different, so I would caution you to jump right into a new role or a new company because you think it's going to be better than working bedside. While it's going to be less of a lift on your body, it still can be hectic and crazy. So before you even go any further, make sure you're making a list of your non-negotiables. Things regarding your nursing role that you don't want to deal with ever again, things that you wouldn't mind doing again, patient populations that you're interested in, whether or not you're willing to get extra certifications, whether or not that you're willing to work outside of your designated time zone, or are you willing to work on the weekends? Are you willing to work on holidays? Are you even willing to work outside of specific hours? A lot of remote roles that you get into quickly are actually night shift. Number two is to figure out what you actually like about nursing. Why do you keep doing it every single day? Other than paying your bills, of course. What about the job do you enjoy? Is it the medications? Is it the patient teaching? Is it reviewing the charts and being able to pull out pertinent information or data? Is it the fact that it gives you flexibility in your lifestyle? Do you enjoy working with a certain patient population or learning more about certain disease processes? Saying that you want to work a remote nursing job is not enough. You really need to drill it down. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Working a remote nursing role is not going to solve all your problems. It may take the stress off of your back, but it's not going to solve all of your problems. As for me, I really enjoyed the aspect of work-life balance. I don't like working the weekends, and I certainly do not like working holidays. I feel like in this day and age, we're just so work focused that we don't pay attention to the important things around us, like friends and family. People aren't here forever, so you truly need to cherish them while they're here. Life is meant to be lived and experienced, not to work all the time. Like, yes, work is important. Very hard worker. I love to make my own money. But at the same time, I want to enjoy my life too. And I say this with complete and utter love, especially from the veteran nurses. It has nothing to do with Stanley Cups or wanting to look cute at work. It has nothing to do with our generation not being strong enough. It has everything to do with just because you went through all that foolishness at work doesn't mean that I have to. I decided better for myself, and I did, which is why I'm in the role that I'm in now. If a nurse chooses to choose better for herself and her mental health and her schedule, that doesn't make her weak. It makes her a very smart girl. Yeah. It makes her somebody that I would have looked up to when I was in nursing school, because she had boundaries for herself regarding what she would and would not accept, and she wouldn't sell that out for a check. Anyway, back off my tangent. Let's talk about a few nursing roles that you could potentially look into if you're ready to kick bedside nursing to the curb. The first one is a clinical trial manager. For this role, you're gonna need to be able to communicate effectively with your teammates and the subjects. For this role, you're going to need excellent communication skills with other people on the team who are non-clinical and the people who are participating in the actual research study or the clinical study. In this role, you basically recruit participants and screen their eligibility to participate in whatever trial that you're putting on. You track the progress of the trial and make sure that it's being done according to protocol, because I'm certain that eligibility and funding for these projects actually go hand in hand. You'll also have to submit a lot of reports regarding the work that's going on. So if you don't like a lot of writing and typing, this might not be for you. Another role you can look into is being a clinical nurse consultant. A lot of the times, these nurses work with certain healthcare companies or entities to be a subject matter expert. So essentially, these companies are looking to you to know exactly what to do. We all know that healthcare is always changing. So it's your job to make sure that the hospital or the healthcare entity that you're working for and with stays up to date and are effectively using new protocols and procedures. If you're somebody who loves to influence change or be a change maker in your own right, this is something that you should look into because you're probably a leader in the making. Another nursing role that you can look into is being a clinical liaison. So in this role, you're gonna help with scheduling appointments or surgeries within like busy hospitals or clinics. In this role, it is your job to make sure that the patients are effectively navigating the healthcare system. You could be doing things like pre-screening insurance to make sure that that patient or that member has the effective coverage to get the procedures or the surgery or see the specialist that they need to see. You might also coordinate transfers to and from other healthcare entities. If you're gonna be a clinical liaison, organization is absolutely necessary for you. I've worked a role like this in the past, and you basically are expected to get the work done. I was never micromanaged in a role like this, but that comes with a lot of trust. So if you're lazy and you think you're gonna goof off, a lot of things can go wrong if you're not doing what you need to do. You are a link in a chain. The chain can't get longer unless you do what you're supposed to do. But if you like to, work hard, get your work done, not have a lot of people talk to you, you might like this one. Another role that you can look into is being a clinical intake coordinator. In this role, you're going to gather information from referring providers, agencies or hospitals, patients themselves, and determine clinical appropriateness for that service or procedure. These roles usually involve scanning through multiple healthcare systems and cross-referencing paperwork. So there's going to be a lot of reading here, friends. There are certain policies and procedures that make someone eligible or having certain pre-existing factors or disease processes or trying certain modalities before they can even get to that certain step of a procedure. So you're going to have to be meticulous when it comes to reviewing paperwork, documentation, faxes, Epic, all the things to make sure that patient meets the criteria to get what they need to get. And if they do not meet that criteria, what do they need to do in order to meet it? Documentation, again, is going to be key here. The short way of saying this, you're going to gather a lot of patient information, create charts, audit charts, the whole shebang, to make sure that they're able to move in the next step of their care. You might also be responsible for scheduling certain appointments. For example, if you're a transplant coordinator, you might be responsible for scheduling appointments for that member to make sure that they can get their transplant done on time. You might even have to coordinate certain things like their medication refills to make sure that they stay on track and don't fall out of eligibility. Another role that you can look into is being a clinical data abstractor. You're going to be responsible for collecting, analyzing, and reporting out a lot of patient data. With data abstraction may have an element when it comes to coding or ICD. Most of the jobs will teach you or train you, or you can get a certification in that kind of thing. If you've ever worked a role that has to do with reports, you're gonna know how serious people are when it comes to changes in reports, whether that's weekly, monthly, annually, cross-sectioning things. It can be intense. I'm not gonna lie to you. Clinical data abstraction is one of those roles where you're probably going to be glued to a computer. But if that's your thing, abstraction is one of those roles where you really need to be comfortable using the computer, using multiple systems. In this role, you'll probably have to deal with ICD coding, anatomy, physiology, reading reports, analyzing reports, potentially building your own reports, or having to speak to the reports that you're collecting data from. Hopefully this gave you a better idea of certain roles that you can look into if you're looking to work from home. At the same time, you're gonna wanna take what I say with a grain of salt. A lot of these roles are custom made for the facility, the hospital, the clinic, the research project that you are working on. In another video, I talked about how I do a form of utilization management. Now, if you actually work as a utilization management nurse, you know that there are so many levels to it. Please understand that we could both have the title of being a utilization management nurse or a case management nurse and do two different things because you work at two different companies or two different departments. There is no way that I can tell you exactly what each and every of these jobs do. Essentially, the purpose of this video is to show you that there's more to nursing than working traditional bedside. One of the main things that's going to set you apart and make it easier for you to find a remote nursing role is your licensure. Getting a compact nursing license is the best thing that I ever did. Even before I had my compact license, I had about 7 or 8 individual licenses. And the reason why I had all those additional nursing licenses is because a lot of those roles that I worked either paid for them on my behalf because I had to either speak to a member that was in a state alternative than where I was working, or they just wanted me to have more licenses just to make sure that we were covered. I remember working one job that if the member wasn't in the same state as you, you literally couldn't talk to them until they came back to that state. But because I had certain licenses in other states, I was able to talk to them even though they weren't in our present state. Anyway, back to finding these remote nursing roles. You can find them in the community, local hospitals, clinics, insurance companies, healthcare tech companies, or regular companies. Like if you are an occupational nurse, you can work for anything like Liberty Mutual or Nike or Tesla. Yeah. It's possible to be a nurse and not work in a healthcare company. You can look at companies like Cohere Health or Availity, Stryker, Cerner, Epic. The possibilities are endless. You really just need to go on LinkedIn or Indeed in order to find these jobs. If you enjoy videos like this one, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.